As the school year wound down, students across Virginia had to do SOL testing. The results allow the Commonwealth to identify and assist schools in which students are not achieving at grade level, but it's also a stressful time. 10 News anchor Jenna Zibden talked with one principal about testing fatigue and finds out about reducing the number of tests in tonight's Education Matters.
I had just become an assistant principal in Roanoke County when SOL started.
Years later, Tim McClung is now the principal at Central Academy Middle School. Typically, middle school students take the most SOL tests, including reading, math, science, writing, and civics and economics.
Students kind of base their outlook on themselves based on a one-day test, which as an administrator can drive you crazy.
And this time of year, he sees testing fatigue set in.
We will have students that will test probably up to 5 hours. Our students are pretty good for about the first hour or two on that reading test, but then, they just wear out. I think I would wear out sitting in front of a computer that long.
Parents sounded off on my Facebook page too. Howard saying, "It is way overrated. It puts too much stress on kids who are making average grades, and I've seen it firsthand." Barbara says, "I despise SOLs as well. My kids get severe anxiety over them." This year, high school students have to take fewer tests after the Virginia Board of Education reduced the number. They hope this creates some room for developing life skills of the 5 C's.
Citizenship, creativity, collaboration, communication skills, critical thinking skills. And these are skills and attributes that aren't readily assessed with a standardized test and are better assessed with something called a performance assessment, where students are having to take what they've learned in a course and apply that.
The Virginia Board of Education is not planning any more immediate changes right now, but say they're always interested in reducing testing and making testing better. We have a list of the SOLs each grade level takes on WSLS.com. Jenna Zibden, 10 News, working for you.
Also, according to an analysis of middle school reading test taking times by the Virginia Department of Education, 75% of students finished tests in an hour and 45 minutes or less, while 50% completed their tests in a little more than an hour.